Greetings from the land of crap internet. Shout out to Spectrum. I am so sorry. If this thing cuts out, it is not that west side. Well, I guess it is kind of west because California is a little bit west. But if this thing cuts out, it's because Spectrum is absolutely terrible. If somebody has a better internet service provider in the state of California, let me know, because I am seriously considering just trying to do this stuff like off of my phone and like ghetto rigging the whole thing. But I don't want to do that to my guy Gridiron, because I beat up a bunch of people for poor internet service. Most of my West Side folks, anybody that's like, I think I said west of like 48th Street, but I think I got to push it a little bit farther west. So yeah, anyways, your boy Chili. It's Tuesday. The two-piece going down like it always does for the past like 7 years or something like that, 8 years. I let the numbers guy Gridiron handle all that. He said that we've been going for, this is the 8th year now. So so there's that. Shout out to the Suns. They completely flamed out and did not even qualify for the play-in. This is absolutely insane that a Suns team, and you can look it up because there's actual stats that back this up. A Suns team that had like Goran Dragic, Eric Bledsoe, and that group had a higher winning percentage than this team with KD, Devin Booker, who trains regularly and heavy in Flagstaff. That's why he's like at the top of his game, from what I heard. We're going to get into a little bit of that a little bit later. And Bradley Beal, but I don't know really how much Bradley Beal really like contributed to all this, because he didn't want to be Drew Holiday, which is absolutely insane to me, because I think Drew Holiday is an absolute monster. I think he's a stud. Really did his thing and contributing to some championship teams or whatever. But it's absolutely insane. Shout out to the D-backs. Look, they're in like one of the toughest divisions in baseball, if you will. I think the Padres, the Dodgers, the Giants are definitely a lot to deal with. A couple years ago, I'm on record for having said that they would lose 100 games. We're not at that point yet, but this is just a tough division of baseball. I got a super special guest that I can't wait to bring on the show and talk to, more than just being a guest, like a friend, a homie, somebody that like I've watched kind of grow up in this game, and I think vice versa, watched me grow a little bit and taught me some things in the evaluation process and all that. Lots of good conversations. So I'm going to bring him on in a second. NAU spring game coming up this week. I can't wait. Shout out to my good folks over there at NAU, taking care of their boy, making sure that the jet is fueled up so that I can get out to Flagstaff, go to the Pines, and enjoy that good weather, right? I heard that it's going to be like 50 degrees, 40 degrees or something like that, which is a whole lot better than like the 97 degrees that I'm hearing about in the valley. So I'm cool with that. I can't wait. I'm super excited. Listen, this group has been there now for a year, and I think that they definitely got things going the right way. I see a lot of excitement on social media, a lot of people talking about what NAU is doing, who NAU is inviting up to camp and stuff like that. And we're going to get into that in a minute. ASU doing some good things. I think that they're going Monday, Wednesday, Friday now. So I'm going to try to get out there to practice tomorrow. Let's see if the jet actually makes it in on time. And you might be selfish. You never know. We'll see how that all works out. Also, another thing that I wanted to address, because I see a lot of chatter behind the scenes and stuff. Look, man, guys jumping in the transfer portal, that does not mean that they're washed. Situations have to present themselves. There's so much talent from everywhere, honestly, in the transfer portal. I'm actually going to talk to my next guest a little bit about that. Maybe not so much specifics, but navigating it, things like that. But there's so much. Look, I just saw Leighton Duncan jump in the portal. I saw Karan Adams from Chandler jump in the portal. I saw Navi Bruzan, 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year, jump in the portal. All those guys super decorated, did a lot of things. Try to be opportunistic and see some chances. And listen, not one. Whenever making a decision, guys, not everything that glitters is gold. Not everything that glitters is gold. Just because it looks like it's amazing does not necessarily mean that it's going to be amazing and work out the way that you think it's going to work out. That's why all you kids, when you guys decommit, There's nothing wrong with decommitting from a place. There isn't. Find the right opportunity and make that work. Take advantage of that right opportunity, the best opportunity for you. I don't care if you decommit and recommit 10 times. I know some people will say red flag, but if another opportunity presents itself for the right reason, listen, your coach moves on, the guy that recruited you moves on, something happens familial, right? Like sometimes those things happen. You know what? I don't think that there's a better person to talk to than possibly my next guest. Superstar recruiter, really trying to build that thing up there in Flagstaff. The one, the only. A lot of y'all familiar. Did his thing over at ASU, made his way over to New Mexico, and then came back home, coached some guys over at Millennium, won a championship with Liberty. The one and only director of recruiting and all cool things up there in Flagstaff, my guy, Coach Tim Roschmann. Stay tuned. 10 seconds. You know the deal. Actually, what it really is AZ zone, right? Because you are at the root of it. You are an AZ guy, right? Director of Player Personnel at NAU, Coach Tim Roschmann, not Roschmann, because I made that mistake and you never corrected me, Coach. How are you gonna play me like that?
I've been called a lot worse, so that's not too big of a deal if someone mispronounces the O in the last name. What an intro! Appreciate you having me on.
No, man, I've been waiting for this for a long time, man. I've watched a lot of what I'm going to call the last 3 quarters of your journey. I can't wait because I think at the end of the day, like you might end this thing in the NFL doing personnel or at a Power 4 SEC, like one of those types of schools. And that's always the goal, is climbing up. But right now you're at NAU building something super special. Talk to me about this situation, because you very uniquely have been a part of some special situations here in the Valley, one Liberty, and now NAU. What's it been like, the transition and all the cool stuff? Just spill it all out.
Yeah, I mean, I've been unbelievably blessed. Just past my 1 year anniversary of accepting this job. Was pretty much exactly 12 months ago that I got this opportunity from Coach Wright. And that was a hard decision to leave Liberty, because what an amazing place that is, and what a great thing we had going there, and they still have going, obviously. So making that transition wasn't easy, but the thing that sold it and that made me feel good about the move was just the people. You've obviously been around our people. A lot of these players from the Valley, a lot of these coaches have been around our people, and the coaches and the people we have in the building, from Coach Wright everywhere down to every piece that touches our athletic staff, our academic staff, just unbelievable human beings, right? And that's what's made this transition, worth it and a pleasure, and is why we're having success. And that's how we're going to continue building this thing, is just attracting great people, and putting it all together. So it's been an unbelievable year. Really, really blessed and fortunate that I got this opportunity. So every day is just about, kind of proving it and trying to reciprocate the belief that's been placed in me by Coach Wright.
Hey, I don't want to say a lot of pressure, but like, what's it like dealing with the pressure of having to make the experience a cool experience up there? Like, listen, great school, but a lot of people are like, oh, it's the third school in Arizona. A lot of pressure for you to kind of make this a cool experience. And I know how hard you've been working trying to make the cool picture room and create the experience for all the kids that go up there. I went up there last year for a game, and you made the experience phenomenal.
Yeah, I think the nice thing about that is just having been a high school coach and having seen it through that lens and what it takes, and finding what makes your place special, obviously. And for us, it was the people, was the interaction. So I think when people have come up here for game days, for spring visits and all that, the number one thing we hear that's positive about it, and maybe different from other places, just how interactive things were, how much our coaches get around the boys and all that. We got that back from our camp reviews from last summer. Like, Coach, I was never really called like by my name in a camp, because Coach didn't know who was camping with them and all that kind of stuff, So I think that's what sets us apart a little bit. And so that's every visit that we plan and execute is all about showcasing that, and every place has to do that to me. Find what makes you special, and then that's what you build everything else around. Not everyone can have everything, right? Not
Right.
everyone is going to be across the board, so I think our thing is our people. So any way I can showcase that and give an opportunity to show that off is kind of how we make our thing special, and so far it's worked well.
Hey, you've taken advantage of some of your past experiences being at G5 institutions and P4 schools to make sure that you can have a competitive experience, recruiting experience for all these kids, the picture rooms, things like that, holding the axe, all the cool stuff. What are some other things that you're trying to do in year two? Because year one, I remember you were really scrambling, kind of behind the eight ball a little bit, getting started late. But now you're not. Now you've had time to plan. What are some new tricks that I'm going to see out there at the spring game that Coach Roschmann has put together?
Yeah, man, I think, I got to keep some of that under lid so kids come up to see it, but no, I think you're exactly right. That's now the next step right now. Like last year I had the excuse of, I'm still trying to get set up and doing this and doing that. I think the biggest thing now is the advantage of us being all together for a year now, obviously retaining our entire staff, which is something special at this level of college football, right? And in the relationship building. So now when kids are coming to Flagstaff, we already have a relationship, right? And that may be something where a year ago we were getting kids up and really that first interaction was on campus and we're trying to get to know each other and all those things. Now it's like, some of these kids come up here, they've been up here before, because that's a big thing, piece of it. As kids want to go where they feel at home, and you don't feel at home typically after one time being up there for 3 hours, so I've
For
had
sure.
kids in the 26 class that have been up here 3-4 times already, and we're building that relationship. And then when they're on campus, it's family, and I think that piece of it is what I'm looking forward to most as we get through summer and then obviously fall.
Hey, 3 years ago, you're coaching 5A ball over there at Millennium. 2 years ago, you're coaching 6A ball over there at Liberty. How have you been able to weaponize that in terms of the relationships that you're building to make sure that NAU is trying to get as many homegrown kids as possible?
Yeah, I mean, I think my time as a high school coach is the most valuable thing that could have happened to me. You talk about a blessing in disguise. When I left college football, it wasn't by my choice at that time. The pandemic and all those things, and I was a little down in the dumps. And I was excited to coach high school football, but I was always keeping an eye out on the college level and all those things. So, but man, it's just completely changed my perspective on the whole thing. And I say this actually to most of the kids when they come up in my presentation and whatnot about how now for the first time I can really empathize with what they're going through. Not to say that when I was just in the college game I didn't know that kids go through hard stuff in recruiting, but now I've seen it. I mean, I've coached the kid that's dreaming of an offer and not getting it, or I've coached the kid that got dropped by one school or whatever the case may be, right? So that's given me a completely new perspective. And then as far as just the relationships, I mean, the Valley, this obviously is.
No, I know, because I saw you recently go back and forth with your Mipo over there at Canyon View, Coach Alcantar. I just think that it's so cool that you are able to, express some of those real personal relationships, even online on social media. I feel like it's kind of like hey, y'all coaches out there trying to come and get kids in my valley, back up a little bit. These are really my people. So I found that fascinating.
Yeah, and I think that is true. The real relationships, obviously, there's some people that I've gone to battle with and gone to war with that, we have real relationships that will last. But even, I think that's the cool thing about the Valley. If you invest in the Valley and you're open and have relationships with these people, like even people I don't know super well, I'm able to build real relationships with. And that's something I learned as a high school coach being in the Valley. You just want to be heard. So I had some phenomenal recruiters from outside the Valley that came through Millennium and Liberty that I interacted with. And I saw how they treated me, the good ones, and, and all that. And that's what I try to emulate now, obviously. And, I mean, even people like, how this is. The Valley is just, it's one of my favorite places to recruit because it's a small enough community to where it really is a true community. Everyone knows everyone, and you just gotta, be involved in it and be active in the community, and they'll accept you.
Hey, the state of Arizona and college football here is super unique, especially right now. You got Coach Dillingham activating the Valley. You got Coach Brennan trying to do something over there at Tucson. But man, Coach Wright, the way he commands the room, and I told you this when I went up there in the summer and stuff, listening to him talk to the groups and stuff. Like Nobody there are few coaches that I have seen, head coaches anywhere in college football, that command the room the way he does. In spending time with him now for a year, what makes him so special? What makes the way he runs the program so special? Because he wears so many hats. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty. Quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, head coach. A lot of coaches, I don't care what level it is, high school, college, Power 4, FCS, G5, wherever, D2, they aren't willing to wear all those hats and still go in-home recruiting.
Yep. And you nailed it. The thing you said, that's what makes him different. Willing to get his hands dirty. That's it right there. I mean, he obviously knows what he's doing. He's a phenomenal coach, but he will do whatever it takes, right? And he does it every single day for us. I mean, he works on the administration side to get our guys more meals, more better housing, whatever the case may be, right? Constantly working to make that the most unreal experience you can have in college, right? Then he's game planning, then he's putting an install for the practice, then he's recruiting, right? So he's doing all. I mean, if there was a Gatorade cooler that needed to be filled up, right, like he'd be doing it, right? So I think that's really special, and then with that comes just the confidence of, this is what we are. He's confident in him doing everything he can to make this program the best it is. And he doesn't have to sell it or doesn't have to make it, extremely flashy when he goes up there in front of people, but it is just, hey, this is the real work we're doing and it is good and we're putting our all into it, and that's what really makes him different. Just confidence.
And you can tell it's paid off. Look, you guys had an appearance. I know it wasn't the result that you guys wanted, but you guys had an appearance in the playoffs. That's something that NAU hasn't seen in a bit. What was that experience like for yourself also? Because look, I know you put a lot of hard work into getting to that step. What was it like getting to deal with all that and see all that unfold?
Yeah, I think the coolest moment of that was just the playoff selection show. Whenever we got announced, if anyone watched it, they announced 24 teams, right? And it's an hour-long show, I believe, and we were announced 24th. So, I mean, it was 59 minutes of agony, and our poor videographer filming the room and then having to put it down every time a new team got announced. That wasn't us, and then when we finally got announced, I mean, everyone's family, kids, wives, obviously the whole team, any assistant, we were all crammed in there, about 200 of us, and just the pure joy of genuine joy of we get to be together another week and we get to play another week and we get to go to war another week, right? That's what I thought was cool about that, because in a very short time, really in 11 months, right, we had gone from new staff, 63 new players, right, and gotten this group that is basically in tears hugging each other that they get to go play one more week, right? And that was the coolest part of that, and obviously a testament to the culture that Coach has built here.
Hey, what break that whole moment down though, because listen, the reality is that ASU knew that they punched their ticket when they won the Big 12 championship. You guys had literally no idea until what you're saying, the 59th minute. What were some of the conversations like for those 59 minutes? What were those
conversations? You had a lot of different styles. There was the quiet styles who didn't say a word. They're just sitting there laser focused, not moving. You had the analysts, right, who well, this team and this team needs to get, and I think I was maybe in that category a little bit, right? And the quiet ones were really, really mad at those guys, just shut up. I'm just trying to, get through this. And then you have some of the, guys that had to pace and do all those different types. So everyone dealt with it a little bit differently, but it was, I'd never been a part of anything like it, because we went to Millennium, to the playoffs at Millennium, and we knew we were going to make it. We just didn't know who our opponent was going to be.
Right.
And then at Liberty, we knew we were going to be in the open. So it was not anything that I had experienced. And that was really, really cool. I mean, truly no one knew in that building whether or not we were going to make it or not. There was even talks in the week of, do we do the team meeting? Do we not do it, right, in case we don't? And all that different type of stuff. So it was a really, really cool experience. I'm hoping this year we maybe don't have to be quite as nervous.
Hey, look, man. I've had the privilege of talking to Coach Larson, fantastic offensive line guy. I've had the privilege of talking to Coach Cheatwood, great linebackers coach. I'm curious though. What do you see from the player personnel side and stuff? What do you see as how you guys take that next step to winning the Big Sky or being one of those top two teams?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it starts with talent. I mean, everyone can preach, all the different things. Talented teams win football games, right? And then obviously connected teams win football games, right? And our coaches and Coach Wright do such an unbelievable job of building the culture piece with the kids. Obviously, there's some things that have to be checked, right? The kid has to have the right mindset coming in. Um, but I think it really allows me to really be focused on the talent aspect of it, right? Because I know once if we get the talented kids here, the culture stuff of it will handle itself, right? And our culture is infectious here and all those different types of things. So I mean, as far as specific talent, I think it's just constant evaluation of your roster, constant eye on the transfer portal in today's day and age, and then you can't sit back and say, well, we don't have a 12 people personnel department, so we can't keep an eye on the transfer portal. You got to find a way to do it, right? And constantly monitor it so that you're successful in those windows. And then, kill the high school recruiting. To me, I look at it as the NFL. Like, the draft is where you build your team. That's high school recruiting, right? That's where you
Okay.
build your team, your culture, your base. And then free agency is where you plug your holes, right? And where you get that one guy that puts you over, where you get your Saquon Barkley that puts you over the top, right? Where you get
Okay.
your Mekhi Becton that puts you over the top, right? So that's the portal to me.
Hey, let's talk about the portal for a second since you brought it up now. Navigating it, like advice for kids, because listen, over there at NAU, you dealt with both sides of it. You guys are trying to bring kids in, and then obviously also recently you guys got poached. One of your guys, look, you can like NAU is still opportunity. So like I think the most important thing is like kids, everybody's trying to chase that bigger logo, but the reality is my suggestion to a lot of kids is chase the best fit, chase the best opportunity, and go to an NAU. And look, man, if in 2 years or 3 years you can go to a Power Four school or a G5 school, NAU is gonna let you do your thing unless they have the NIL to match because we live in that world now. Navigating the portal, like what are your thoughts on this? How does this whole thing work?
Yeah, I mean, from a kid's perspective, I guess from a player's perspective, my advice would be simply to have a very, very sound plan if that's what you're gonna do,
Okay.
No one ever sees, I wish we should really give some more media people just access to the portal and just see the thousands of names in there. I know everyone tweets out the numbers and everything like that, but when you really see the list of guys in front of you and then the ones you've seen for months now and they're not getting picked up and they may be done playing college football, right? That's when it really hits you how kind of ruthless and unforgiving that portal can be. So I think, as easy as it sounds, is that if you're going to do that and go that route, you better have a very, very sound plan and be advised by some people who know what they're talking about, you know,
Right.
and you need to probably talk to more than one person, right? That knows what they're talking about. And what are you hoping to get out of it, right? And what is that realistic with what you've done on the field, right? Because for most kids, I would say sometimes those two things don't match up, right? Like I want to accomplish X, but I've only done so and so on the field, and that's never going to get me there. So then, what are we trying to do? So we run into those types of issues quite a bit. Um, and then, yeah, there's unfortunately just a lot of bad advice out there, and that's something I say to my recruits all the time as well, because that's the same in the high school recruiting. I always shout you out, and the Cody Camerons of the world as people who give great free advice and who are trusted and in the community and have phone numbers that they can call and get a real temperature of, hey, what does a college think of this kid and that kid, right? And a lot of people claim they have that, but they really don't, and then they're advising kids, and they falsely.
Hey, listen, I think that this is pretty accurate. What I'm about to say. I think that this is pretty accurate. Listen, I think it's important for people to understand. Look, you go to NAU, you're going to get a lot of honesty. I'm not saying that because of present company on the interview. I'm saying that because I think early on, NAU as a staff, and I don't know this through a ton of conversation. I think you guys kind of knew, like, hey, McLaughlin's probably going to get poached. Somebody's going to pick him up. A bigger school's probably going to come get him. And I don't think that you guys were of the mind of trying to deter him from going. It was more like, hey, we just got to find a replacement. We got to recruit a kid to come in. We got to develop somebody. And I think in a day and age where there's so much dishonesty, it's refreshing to see some of the honesty that you guys had with your own program and with a kid trying to achieve some dreams. So for that, big shout out to you guys. Big kudos to you guys because it's well deserved. And I think you guys are, because of that, stuff like that, you guys are building a culture that is going to be super sustainable because kids are going to realize, like, hey, look, we can go to NAU, be developed, and, they're going to always wish us the best, whatever happens, whether it's putting together 4 great years there or 2 great years there and then 2 great years somewhere else. So I don't know what your reaction is to that, but or your rebuttal is, but that's the way I observe that situation.
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously that's a loaded response. We could be here for
For
2 hours
sure.
talking about the nitty gritty of like specifics and all that kind of stuff. But as a baseline, absolutely, honesty piece is massive. And that really sprung from, again, being a high school coach and wanting to be able to call someone up and getting a straight answer. And I think every Valley coach you probably talk to, if you say, what's your number one frustration with college coaches? Maybe it's A, not getting a response, or 2, if you get a response, it's the wishy-washy thing, right? And not. And so that's what I've tried to, pride myself in. And our program is like that as well. And so at all levels, whether that's in the transfer portal, with a high school coach, it is honesty. Because again, yeah, we live in the world we live in, right? And who knows, this transfer portal could change again in 6 months, and NIL could change in a year. And, no one can predict the future, but what you can control is live in the world we live in and operate the best we can. And if we're going to do things that are maybe unpopular or, whatever the case may be, is be honest about those things and not try to hide it from anyone.
Hey, you yourself are a Valley kid. You're from out this way. You're literally from the Valley, and then obviously you coached out here. You've been a few places, ASU, New
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, right?
Yeah.
Some favorite things about Flagstaff, how Flagstaff competes with with some of these other situations. I've talked to Coach Larson and Coach Cheatwood, and they talk about the hiking and they talk about the community and stuff like that. But to you, Coach Roschmann, like what are some of the things that stand out the most to you about Flagstaff? Why it's such an enjoyable place to be and to play and to start your college career and maybe finish it?
As a Valley kid, sitting on my porch in May and June in 82 degrees, having a breeze on my in my hair, and I mean, shoot, I'm getting into country music out here, man. Like,
Oh,
you know,
Jesus. Some
some
Morgan Wallen.
I'd say, yeah, I'm the Zach Brown band, all that, because it's just hard not to, because it's just such a, like it really revitalizes you, man. The weather, the views, the nature, the air. I mean, down in Phoenix, sometimes you're breathing some air you probably shouldn't be breathing, out here you can actually fill your lungs and all that kind of stuff, and that's all love for Phoenix. I love it
No,
down
for sure.
but that's the biggest thing that I take from just living here. I mean, like I drive home again, window down. That's the day, window down. I got my Morgan Wallen on or whatever the case is, and just enjoying it. That's what makes this place special. I mean, and I tell that to recruits all the time. Like, where do you want to lock in for 4 years? Where do you want to like hone your craft and bust your butt to make it to the NFL? In between the pines where you got fresh air and beautiful mountains and distractions, yes, are on every college campus in America, but not maybe the distractions that you have in some of the bigger cities and all that kind of stuff, right? So just somewhere where you can really, I mean, our quarterback and our receiver after spring practice on Saturday, asking them on the way out at noon, hey, what you got going on the rest of the day? Oh, we're going to drive down to the creek and go fishing, like what a beautiful thing, right? In today's day and age to be able to go do that. And again, just hone in on your craft and enjoy the beautiful surroundings.
Hey, you actually get. I mean, since you're bringing up the weather, you actually get four seasons up there. In the fall, the leaves drop. In the winter, it snows. In the summer, it gets a little hot, not overbearing, but it does hit like the high 90s and some maybe the hundreds or whatever. And then in the spring, you got a beautiful spring. So like you actually get 4 full seasons up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, now really, I mean, we're about to get into this now. You mentioned it, April, this Friday, there's supposed to be a little drop in temperature, which we do get. But
I'll take that over the spike up in temperature. Holy
for
smokes.
sure, for sure. But then from here through October, I mean, we're going to be sitting in the really 60s through 80s consistently. Even late in the year, it doesn't get real cold. Now, when the snow comes in, it drops and everything. But it's never like my sister lives in Michigan and she gets those minus 20s and all that. The wind coming off the lake. Like we stay pretty consistent. So I mean, it's a pretty pretty neat place to live.
Right, but like in the spring and summer and fall, like you can skateboard or scooter to class without getting sunburned and stuff like that. Is
Correct.
what I'm
Yep.
saying. Or you can, even in like the winter for the most part, you can walk to class without worry of a blizzard just hitting you with like 15 inches of snow. You get enough snow to have a snowball fight, but not enough snow to bury your car. So
For sure.
I think that's dope. Hey, what can we expect? I'm gonna come out there for the spring game. What can we expect to see out there? Year two.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll see obviously a roster that has been able to be together now, and so hopefully now you weren't at the last spring game, so maybe you don't have the one-to-one comparison, but roster that's further along just in the process, right? Playbook knowledge, all that kind of stuff. So cleaner execution, practice habits, right? They've been in the system by and large. Hopefully you'll see a bigger, faster, stronger roster. Obviously, that's my job to build on every single year. So I'll leave your judgment up to that. And then, some recruits out there for sure. Now, obviously, we've had a massive spring. We've had about 310 kids visit us throughout this spring ball. So it's not that Friday is going to be the most massive day. We're not trying to cram it all because, again, it takes away from the people, right? When I get 300 kids on the same day, how much interaction can I really get with all those kids rather where I get 15 kids at a time, but then also really excited to get some of our 2025 signees up here for the spring game.
Okay.
So I'll get you around those guys, and now I can mention their names. So my guy JT Taylor from Higley's coming up. Weston Hancock from Red Mountain's coming up. Devin Murphy from Maryvale's coming up. Aiden Brown Chandler. We got really most of the class coming up, except maybe some of the California guys that couldn't quite make it. So that'll be exciting. They'll be introduced at the spring game at halftime on the PA system and everything like that. It'll be a great atmosphere, man. Great atmosphere, and just celebrate kind of the spring, and then give us a good day here before we get into portal madness and road madness and all that good stuff.
Hey, before I let you go, you brought it up, bigger, faster, stronger. There is elite level training going on up there in Flagstaff. I know for a fact, and it's common knowledge for most. Devin Booker trains up there, one of the best players in the NBA. I would say that he's easily in that top 25 category, and there's a lot of players in the NBA, and he's one of the elite ones. Talk to me about the elite level training that goes on up there. You guys have got some of the best facilities. They look absolutely crazy now, way better than they did years past.
Yeah, we're fortunate. I mean, that's just pure luck on our end as a staff to have inherited that. Right now, it's our job to put a product on the field that makes them want to continue to add to that. But yeah, I mean, I think it starts with our sports science. This is some of the most unbelievable sports science I've ever been around, and I've been obviously at some great places. We just got the largest donation in NAU athletics history, specifically dedicated to the sports science lab. $3.5 million, right, to keep that thing growing and going. So everything from a sports science piece that you would want, we have here, right? And that's why the pros come here, because it is at a pro level, right? From the elevation chamber to the recovery deck, right, to the weight room, to the turf, everything we have. And then for our guys, the guy who runs it, Coach Matt Summers, it is the best I've been around. I mean, he just does an unbelievable job developing players. I mean, I would put him up against anyone in the country, and there's phenomenal ones in the country that he does. But man, he what he does with our guys, and what a Summer does with Matt Summers to a kid's body, and how they can perform is really, really unbelievable. So we have the tools and the people, put them together, something pretty special happens. So yeah, it's always cool, when people like Devin Booker, and then we had Team Japan training out here for the Olympics and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, because we just have access to things that some people don't, and you can't simulate 7,000 feet anywhere else. You don't get that except for at 7,000 feet.
Hey, and before I let you go, one thing I do want to let you do, a shameless plug here, camps, sevens, NAU's got them, and you guys did a hell of a job recruiting guys, making sure that you got some recruits that you got actual eyes on, not just guys that you saw or heard somebody talk about, but kids that go to NAU's camp literally and seriously increase their opportunity of getting an offer and signing. Do you have the actual numbers of how many kids you guys took from your camps?
Yeah, so 68% of our signing class we evaluated at our camp. So, most of those we pretty much offered then and there at camp, but then like a Hayden Fletcher, we saw at camp. We still wanted to see the game film because he obviously at that point hadn't
Quarterback's
played
different.
varsity football, right? So but like that evaluation was key, and without that evaluation, it would have never happened for him in the fall, right?
Wow.
So that's one of those, but a lot of them were in person there. JT Taylor was at the end of camp, right? We offered him a scholarship there. Charlie Taufel, we offered him a scholarship that right then and there. So 68%. And that's not limited to just indie camp. I mean, that's also 7-on-7 camp. I know we all got mixed feeling about 7-on-7. But I do think you can just absolutely see a kid's obviously competitiveness, their spirit, how they act in the face of adversity, because there will be nonsense.
Sure.
There will be a kid that's trying to pop off and talk smack to them and all that kind of stuff. And they just got to handle it. So like the one I think of is Hayden Doherty, who's already up here, and you'll see him Friday doing some awesome for the Lumberjacks. I mean, he literally blew us away at that camp. I mean, we had him on our list in the day coming in, and we hadn't offered him at that point yet. He's out there killing it. He's cramping up every 5 minutes, because he didn't hydrate well enough. But other than that, he'd go back out and catch another ball. And I mean, we had the D-line coach, the O-line coach, and the tight end coach by the end of the day, just following Highland around, just checking out Hayden Doherty. And by the end of the day, we're fighting about what position he's going to end up playing, So,
oh man, I love that.
Those things.
No, he's an absolute dog, man. No, listen, I just because you got those camps coming up here shortly, and you got those 7-on-7 events coming up shortly. Like, listen, I tell everybody in Arizona, look, if you're going to do a 7-on-7 event, do Flight Club. But if it's not going to be Flight Club, make sure you get out to one of these college 7-on-7 events. So NAU being one of them. And you guys got 3 of those, 3 consecutive weekends. One of them I know happens to be the 28th. We share that. We're going to fix that in the future. But
we'll coordinate better.
If you're not doing Flight Club, make sure you get up north and go check out what's going on up there in Flagstaff, their 7-on-7 event. Also, the 2 weekends prior, you guys have 7-on-7 events also. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be the 28th, 21st, and the 14th, if I'm not mistaken, of June. The weather's absolutely fantastic. Last year, I was up in Utah for a camp, an Under Armour camp, and then I made my way to the 7-on-7 event over in Flagstaff. It was 85 degrees in Utah at the time, and it felt like 120. I went to Flagstaff the following day. I think it was the following day, maybe the same day. I can't remember the way these jets were working, but I went to Flagstaff for the 7-on-7 event, and it was maybe high 70s, felt like high 60s, and absolutely beautiful. Loved it. I could wear a nice little hoodie, and I was super comfortable and moving around, watch all the players ball, watch all the coaches evaluate. So there's that. My man, Coach Roschmann, not lying once again when he says that they recruit out of their 7-on-7s and camps. So if you want a chance to play some good D1 football, you go to the NAU camps, 7-on-7 events. Make sure your teams are signed up. Coach Roschmann, listen, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to come hang out with your boy. Long overdue, and we got to do this again during the season, for sure.
Absolutely. Anytime, man. Anytime. I mean, you're one of the great ones that does so much for high school kids and Arizona football and all that, So, I mean, you're one of the good ones, and anything you need, you're always welcome on the mountain.
I appreciate that. Hey, don't forget, our guy Gridiron is coming up next. We got Inside the Number segment. I know he's a legend. I didn't realize how legendary he was until you and Coach Cheatwood were explaining his legendariness, his Devin Booker B legendariness to me at the championship games. I did not know. I was blown away. So, Coach Roschmann, thank you for that. And I will catch up with you down the line, but I'll see you Friday for sure.
Sounds good. See you Friday.
All right. You know the deal. Man. Hey. Gridiron, aka B Legendary.
We gotta do a little inside the numbers on NAU real quick here before get into our other stuff.
Without the yellow pad?
No, it was my notes during the Coach Roschmann interview there.
Okay. Go ahead. Take it away.
It was their first playoff appearance in 7 years last season for the Lumberjacks. Their season will begin on August 30th, of course, at ASU. And they've lined up ASU and U of A over the next 10 seasons, they're going to play at least one of them every season
Good.
through 2034. 4 times with ASU and 6 times with the U of A. Never in the same season, of course. And then, of course, you guys talked about the mega camp that they're going to have. That's on June 20 and 21. And they're going to have a total of 30 schools represented at that. And it goes all the way from Power 4 schools to Division II schools. So a wide range of guys at different levels, obviously different schools recruiting them there. And then the Friday night spring showcase that you're making the trip out there for. It's at 6 p.m. They're going to do 2 20-minute halves in that with a 10-minute halftime. And then during each half, they're going to have 3 media timeouts where there'll be the entertainment that is under wraps so far. So you have to see what all that is. And then in the 25 class, when it comes to Arizona recruiting, the in-state, they ended up getting 8 scholarship players from Arizona high schools and 14 walk-ons.
Sheesh, that's crazy. Hey, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt your Inside the Number segment.
No, that was it.
But I'm gonna forget to do this if I don't do this right this second. I gotta show some love to Country Archer beef jerky. I posted this on Instagram, and they sent me like 10 bags of this stuff. I know that you can get it at Costco. This stuff, hey, Gridiron, this stuff will change your life.
Archer brand. I get the beef sticks regularly.
Hey. This stuff will change your life like the Powerball. This stuff is so good. I actually got this first from a parent at a 7-on-7 thing. I posted this on my Instagram, and the folks reached out to me and asked where they could send a box, and they sent me 10 pounds of this stuff.
Wow!
Each one is a pound. So I saved a pound for you since I'm using this to interrupt your segment. So you don't have to buy the beef sticks. You will actually get a free pound of Country Archer provisions, grass fed. This is grass fed. Hey, this mango habanero stuff. I don't know how you are with the spicy.
I can do heat.
I know that Mrs. Gridiron doesn't do the spicy. If I remember.
No, she doesn't.
So you can have the whole pound to yourself. See
sure.
how I looked out for you again. Hey, the sideline blog, the sideline stuff that I do pays off for Gridiron again, as it usually does. So with that being said, we are going to move on into the Inside the Number segment, and we are going to do what we do, and that is going to be take a look at some of these schedules. I'm super excited about these 2 teams that we get a chance to talk about. I think that one of them up and coming. I believe that we broke them down last year, but I'm not sure. I know that you will let me know. But what Coach Foster is doing over there with the Camelback Spartans is absolutely amazing. I love what's going on over there, and I can't wait to break down this schedule. I'm super excited for them and the progress that I am hoping that they're going to make. They were a participant in last year's Flight Club, and I hope that I get a chance to see them again. And their schedule, it's interesting. I'm going to say that first. They kicked this thing off with McClintock, and I think that that's going to be a good early test. After that, they get to come home to the friendly confines. They play Arcadia, and then September 12th they're on the road playing Desert View. Then they're back home versus a tough Cactus Shadows team. But first, let's take a look at this Arcadia game before we make it too far. Interesting game to break down.
That Arcadia, it's a regional matchup. I know they're in different districts, but geographically, Arcadia and Camelback not very far apart. And Camelback lost that game last season 27-14, so they were very competitive in that game last season. And of course, Arcadia went on to have a 9-3 season. They do return a quarterback that played about half the snaps last season in Zach Smith at 1,282.
Talented kid.
12 TDs and 2 interceptions. They also bring back a running back, Ryan Jimenez, 952 yards, 6 touchdowns. And they also have a wide receiver returning, Ian Slater, that had 775 yards and 9 touchdowns. So a lot coming back for Arcadia, who is expected to name their new head coach probably this week, replacing Ray Brown.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that situation works itself out. But Arcadia, that kid Zach Smith, I got a chance to watch him work versus ACP, which was one of their losses. But my man came in. If I remember correctly, Rooney started that game. He just didn't finish that game. And Zach Smith, look, excitable arm and can do some things. I think it should be a good game to go watch if somebody's going to go watch a Camelback game, and good opportunity to watch two tough teams compete. Like I said, they go to Desert View on the road, and then they get to come back home versus a tough Cactus Shadows team versus Donovan Dixon and company.
Yeah.
After that, Coach Alcantar and his Canyon View squad, they got some dudes over there. My man Traden Baker, I think that he's going to be something special and is going to get some opportunities. After that, they are home versus South Mountain, home versus Trevor Brown, and then on the road to Fairfax, who's going to deal with some new coaching over there. That should be another fun game to check out. After that, they get North and the crew, Eli Manzanares and company, on the road. So I'll let you talk about this one a little bit, what you're expecting to see from this North game.
Yeah, North last year, Camelback won this game in a shootout, 60-36. North was 3-7 last season, but 3-2 in the region. Kind of expect them to be improved. And of course, you mentioned the quarterback, Eli Manzanares over there for the Mustangs.
Yeah, and then after that, they finish off the season on Halloween night versus the rivalry game versus Central at home. This game has been heated in the past, heated up, especially with Coach Hovick and company over there.
Well, there was a year that Central could have made the playoffs, and and Camelback beat them that last game of the season.
Yeah, I think I think I projected that game was going to be one very meaningful.
An 8-1 against a 9-0. I think you picked it that
year. I think yes, I think I did pick that. I appreciate you not letting me forget that. But well, one of them was close. One of them was close. Mm-hmm. So I will say that I was about half right, which is usually about right. So look, this Camelback team, they got some guys. They got a nice little quarterback, dual threat guy returning, Angel Neria. They got a pair of defensive backs that I like. Aiden Medrano and Desire Roper, and a defensive lineman over there, Cacao. So, Gridiron, I'm going to let you go inside the numbers on this Camelback team. I think that, they got some guys to work with.
Yeah, we got the Camelback Spartans 6-4 last season. They went 5-0 to win the 5A Metro region. However, they did not get into the playoffs with just the 16-team PowerPoint only situation. Their last playoff appearance was in 2002. Over the last 4 years, though, Camelback is 24-16. The head coach is Dante Foster. He's in his second year with the program, and they are still in the 5A Metro with all the same teams that there were last year. They ended up in the final PowerPoints. They ended up number 21 with their 6-4 record. Some of the players there coming back for them, you got the quarterback, Angel Neria, 1,880 passing yards, 15 touchdowns. He'll be a senior. Dual threat, as you mentioned, also 639 rush yards, 3 TDs. A little bit of youth outside of that in the skill positions, because running back Murray Crump was a senior, had an 875-yard, 12 TD season, and only Neria had more than 15 yards rushing on varsity last season. So it's going to be some new people. And then their wide receivers, their top 3 wide receivers all graduate, and nobody returns who had more than 50 receiving yards. So early on, it'll be a little bit of a test, getting them to mesh before region play. Defensively, they do have some guys coming back with experience. You got Adam Medrano, safety, 52 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and an interception. He'll be a senior. Also, defensive lineman Safita Cacao will be a senior, 40 tackles, 5.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. And then cornerback Desire Roper, 36 tackles and 3 interceptions. Camelback scored 313 points last season, so 31 points a game, but 291 of those points were scored by seniors, with the other 22 for Neria. Interesting note, the team had 10 successful 2-point conversions during the season. So they did have a kicker, and he did kick about the same number of extra points as they had 2-point conversions. They had something going in the short game, and they took advantage of it and got 8 instead of 7 on some of those touchdowns. And last year they won all 5 of their region games by 24 or more points. And their JV went 2-3 last season, and they did not have a freshman team in 24.
Okay. This is tough. I think that they're going to be super competitive. This honestly, like, I honestly, and when I double up on a word, that means I'm really doubling down. So I honestly think that this team is capable of possibly going 7-3. However, hearing you speak on some of these numbers, I did not realize. I knew that they were heavy with the seniors at skills positions and things like that. I did not realize really how much like they really contributed in terms of like points and things like that. I am going to play this one very, very safe. And while I want to say they're going to win 5 games, I'm going to say they're going to win 6 games. I think they're capable of winning 7, but I'm going to go ahead and take them at 6-4.
Okay. Like I said, they were pretty dominant within the region. Those are the last 5 games. You look at the schedule, of course, you got the Arcadia team that beat them by 2 scores and all those guys returning. Cactus Shadows, obviously a playoff team in the 5A, and Donovan Dixon running around there. It's going to be difficult
for Crank.
But I think McClintock is going to be down this year. They lost a lot, including the coach and including the quarterback and including the receiving core that they had. So I don't think they're going to be the same McClintock that we've seen the last couple years. Desert View, they do have to go down to South Tucson to play that one, but Desert View had the same record that Camelback did last year. Canyon View could be a difficult game also. They're going to be well tested, but I'm going to say that they get 2 of those non-region games. I'm going to give them the 7-3. And
you're going to give them the 7-3.
And with 24 teams getting in the playoffs, I know it's going to be called the play-in game, but let's face it, the teams that are in the play-in game, if it's win in advance or lose and you're done, it's in essence the playoffs. So we'll say that counts as their first playoff appearance since 2002, because I think they will make the top 24 going 7-3.
Like I said, I do think that this team is going to win 7 games. Look, the reality is if they do win 8 games, if they're able to pull off a surprise in one of these games, and they win 8 games, then Gridiron is going to get this one, and I am not. So, and I do think that is possible too. I like the way Coach Foster motivates his guys, gets his troops right. I just didn't realize, like when you said the numbers, and you kind of threw me off now that you chose 7 and I didn't, because typically I'm the one giving teams the benefit of the doubt. I'm typically the nice one here. Like you're typically bad cop. So like I'm a little surprised, but man, I love that you went with 7. Give me a moment here before we look at the second schedule.
You're looking for a 7th win.
I just don't want to lose in case they, pull off a surprise. Because there's one game that I think me and you disagree on.
Well, I think the key is that first game. They got to get that first game against McClintock. If they don't get the McClintock game, I don't think they're going to win 7.
Yeah, I think we're going to be breaking down McClintock's schedule, and I think we're going to be breaking down one of these other schedules. So I don't know that I want to show my hand on those projections yet. So, I'm gonna say
they're not going to win McClintock night.
I do think that this team is going to win 7 games.
Okay.
I really do.
We're going to put you down at 7.
No, I am going to say at 6. I'm saying at 6. I'm saying you got how many scribbles do you have?
No, I have no scribbles. No scribbles. I have not changed your 6.
Hey, this is fact. Shout out to our guys over there at Epic Sports, James Boogie and companies, my girl Sonia Blade and company over there. No one does the numbers like Gridiron Arizona. Let's go over the Thursday night football 2026 scheduled sometime soon.
I've seen them throw a game or 2 out. I haven't. They probably haven't set the whole schedule for the year yet. But
that is possible. Look, hey, you know the deal. Tag us in it, and we'll show some love. We'll do our thing. Epic Sports, good friends of the program. Like I said, my guy James.
You've been on some halftimes before over there.
Yeah, no, I have. They're very generous. They let anybody on. They let me on. So It is what it
I've
is.
been
Like,
on it, so I know.
there you go. Yeah, we definitely would like to go over the 2025 schedule, because that 2026 schedule. Hey, look, just tag us in the 2026 schedule this time next year, and we'll go
They
over that one
definitely
too.
don't have that schedule yet.
Hey, you never know. You never know how these leaks work. So, I mean, it would just be odd. Like, you would know that the AIA is scripting something if
Well, the
if
26
that
schedules
happens.
are going to be the
So,
same as 25. So theoretically, we if you have a team's 25 schedule, you just flip it around, and the 26 Camelback season will begin with a home game against McClintock. So
okay,
it's a
that's
2-year
fair.
block. So
That is fair. That is fair. Okay. Keep me at 6. Keep me at 6. I love Coach Foster. I love what Angel's doing
I
over
do
there.
these
I think
at
that
10, so I didn't have to scribble anything out.
I think that they're capable of. I think that they are capable of winning 7. Look, if they win 7, we're all good. We're
Yeah.
even. If they, if they win 8,
They
is where
probably
I'm in
have to
trouble.
win 7 to finish in the top 24.
That is true. That is true.
Because that is the weakest top to bottom of the 8 regions in 5A.
All right. Here we go. This is one of the big ones. This is one of the big schedules.
Yeah.
This is, oh man, this is one of the big schedules of the season that I think that we are all looking forward to, seeing how this team rebounds after last year's, for some people, surprising season.
This is the team not the rebound.
One of the few undefeated teams out there. Marana, the team from Tucson. I've talked to a few of the parents out there, and they did tell me that they would like me to recognize them as Tucson's team now. So
I think they earned that last year with
based on what they did last year.
How many teams from Tucson were in the Open?
I'm just gonna let you lay this on thick so that I don't get yelled at. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's all.
Okay, this is officially quote unquote Tucson's ambassador, which is going to be real funny since we're going to talk about game 1. Marana at South Point. I'm going to go ahead and let you break this one down.
Their mark is Tucson's team right there in week 1 before we September.
Out the gates, Gridiron. Go ahead. Talk to us a little bit about this game. I know you're going to bring up last year, and let us know what this is like.
Yep, of course, Marana won last year, 27-24. To me, this is kind of the unofficial best team in Southern Arizona game. South Point was 8-3 last year. Of course, they had a win over Brophy along the way there, and they've kind of held the mark until last season as being the premier school in Tucson. Of course, they're in the 6A, but they do leave that game on the schedule for this block against Marana also.
Yeah, this game out the gates is going to be tough, man. At South Point, I think that Avalar and company, I think that they're going to be coming, and they got dudes over there at South Point that are just licking their chops right now to get this game back. I know David Rushing is one of them. I know that they got RJ Gorey over there, Jamel Champion. They got some
another Rushing.
Yeah, another Rushing, and David and Crazy. And I know people are going to be like, "Oh, there's no way!" Like blah 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 blah. David is so talented. I don't want to say he could be the best one, but like, man, he could be special. So and Elijah and Cruz were both special. So I can't wait to see what Coach Ryden's got in store. But this is a tough one out the gates for Marana. And we'll get into Marana and their roster in a little bit. But game 1. After that, they get to come back home. They get Marana at Marana versus Canyon View. I think that this is going to be a good test for them also, how they rebound, come back home, and whatever happens, game 1 happens. We'll get into that in a little bit. After that, they are back on the road at Yuma Catholic, which for most teams that's a far trip.
5A, Yuma Catholic, yeah.
Yeah, for most teams that's a far trip. For Marana, that's kind of down the street. It's kind of norm. It's kind of whatever. After that, Marana gets to come back home for a pair of games. One versus CDO, also up to the 5A. And then Marana versus Buena for homecoming. So
Buena was a very good team last year as well.
Yeah, friendly confines, and that'll be exciting for them. First half of the schedule is done. After that, they're on the road versus a tough Ironwood Ridge team with the big fella Brady Allen. I'm curious to see how that one pans out. Then it's back to the friendly confines. Miranda gets Casa Grande or Casa Grande. Depends on who you're talking to, whether it's me or Gridiron. And then Miranda versus Tucson, senior night, the last home game for this group. I'm gonna let you talk about this one a little bit. I think that this game could get interesting.
Yeah, Tucson 9-3 last year. They had a big turnaround season, but Marana did win this game 56-7 last year. The Badgers returned their quarterback Derek Mesa, had 24 touchdown passes, and running back Noah Chanez, who had 855 yards and 9 TDs. So by this point, we should know if Marana and Tucson are the two top teams in that region.
Miranda and Tucson, two top teams in that region. It could be. We're going to see. I'm not sure where I'm projecting their record to be right now, but I think I have a good idea.
And Buena is actually the first of their region games. I believe the Mountain View game is outside the region, but it's a rivalry game.
Noah's an absolute dog. I get to watch him in sevens and stuff all the time. I think that Tucson's got some guys that could upset senior night. But after that, Marana got to be the road warriors, just like they were last year. Marana at Mountain View for the Battle of the Boot, not Mesa Mountain View, but there's Mountain View in Tucson or whatever. So Marana versus Mountain View, Battle of the Boot, historical game. And then they finish off the season on Halloween night at Vista Grande. At Vista Grande, and Vista Grande is going to have some new coaching and some new players and some new faces and new places, and we're going to see how that whole situation works itself out. But
and Marana won't have to wait 3 weeks after that to play their first playoff game.
Yes, they will not, because the 5A has opted out of the Open.
Right.
The 5A has opted out of the Open. It's one of those.
They might have to wait 1 week if they're a top 8 seed, but they won't have to wait 3 like they did last time. Last year they had their bye in the final week of the season, and then the Open takes a week off when the rest of the playoffs begin. And so by the time that they lined up for their playoff game there against Hamilton, it had been 21 days since they'd played a game.
All right, and then look, Marana. Also depends on who you talk to.
It's the same deal as the Grands.
Yeah. So look, Marana fully loaded. I think. Look, I know that they lost legendary Desmond Roebuck, Arizona's all-time leading receiver. I know you're going to go into that a little bit.
Player of the year.
I just like to say that. Yeah, player of the year, Desmond Roebuck, going to Washington, all that good stuff. But they return quarterback Colton Coco Meyer. We use all the nicknames on the show. Coco Meyer. I called him Hot Coco because my man was absolutely on fire last year at times. So shout out to Colton Meyer, Coco, Hot Coco, depending on Friday nights. Also return another Roebuck, Sugar Sean Roebuck. So he makes some pretty sweet plays and can do his thing. A super talented running back over there, Jeff Smith, and then complimenting Sugar Sean Roebuck, they got Jackson Sharp over there. And then this defense, not to be slighted, make sure that they get their due. Hayden Utley, the edge outside linebacker over there, who has a knack for getting to the quarterback and getting in that backfield. Another guy who has a knack for getting to the quarterback and that backfield that I know you're going to talk about is one. Greg gets stuck in that web. He like Spider-Man. He getting all these quarterbacks stuck, all these running backs stuck back there. And then Wyatt Berry, defensive back. Look, they got some dudes over there in Marana and the home of Trenton Bourget. So, Gridiron, I'm going to let you take it away inside the numbers on this Marana football team.
Yep, we'll take a look at the Marana Tigers. 10-1 last season. Made the Open Division for the first time. Played Hamilton in the playoffs. 31-22 loss. So it was definitely a strong showing for some people that thought maybe they didn't belong at all in there. They made the playoffs for their third straight year. The record for Marana over the last 4 years is 32-12. That coincides with the time that head coach Philip Stewart has been there. He's going into his 5th year, and they are now in the 5A Sonoran region. They did a little bit of a shuffling up of the two regions that represent Southern Arizona. This is this is from top to bottom the better region, I think, in terms of how good the teams are. uh, compared to the Southern. Looking at the offense, you got Colton Kokomeyer, 3,687 passing yards last year, 30 touchdowns. He averaged 335 yards per game. His high game was 470 against CDO. In that game, he was 30 of 34 for 3 TDs. And Meyer will be a senior this year. Running back Jeffrey Smith III, 666 yards, 15 TDs. He did that as a freshman. Wide receiver Sean Roebuck had 38 catches, 613 yards, 3 TDs. He'll be a junior and kind of ready to to take that extra catches that they used to go to one Dez, older brother there. So he could have a really big season as well. And then on defense, you got the edge rusher Hayden Utley, had 80 tackles, 13 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. He'll be a senior, as will linebacker Greg Webb, who had 74 tackles and 11 sacks. Marana won 8 games last year by double digits.
Man, look.
And we did do Marana last year. We both had them going 8-2. And of course, we missed that one by 2 games. I know that we didn't have them winning the Higley game, and we probably didn't have them winning the Sal Point game, if I had to guess. So,
yeah,
no Higley on the schedule this year, though. So
I'm gonna assume that you are right about that, because I can't really see it being.
I don't have the 24 schedule in front of me, but I know they played Higley down there. And obviously, we know that they.
I went there.
Points. If we guessed 8-2, those were probably the 2 that I was thinking. So
highly likely, you're right more than you're wrong. So I'm going to give you that. I look at the schedule. I'm not going to make that same mistake again. So I'm going to go ahead and I think with the development that I've seen from Roebuck, Sugar Sean Roebuck, and some of the work that I've seen in the offseason from Hot Cocoa and Jeff Smith and Hayden Utley's constantly working.
Yeah.
I think that Greg Webb and Wyatt Berry are going to be ready to work and do their thing. Jackson Sharp should be ready to contribute and be a guy. I'm going to go ahead and take Marana with 9 wins. Now that they know how to win, now that coach
going for the full 10 there, I wasn't sure.
Now, look, I think that it's possible. Look, they've already proven that they can get South Point. They are already talking about being the team of Tucson. If they want to back that up, a great way to do that would be to go out and get this first victory, go 1-0, set the tone. I'm going to take them for 9 wins because I do think that they can go 10-0. I do think that is a possibility.
It definitely set the tone last year. That's true.
I am going to play this one safe, and I am going to say 9 wins. I got to play it safe tonight. One, because I'm worried about my internet over here, so I don't want to, have it cut off at an inopportune time.
I was going to say, you think you have Marana internet?
I'm going to say 9 wins. I'm going to say 9 wins because I think, look, if they end up 8-2, then I'm going to get this one, and if they end up 10-0, I'm still going to get this. And I'm almost positive that you're going to be hovering somewhere around my 9 wins.
I am hovering right around there. Usually I look at the schedule and I make little L's next to the ones that I don't think they're going to win. But it was difficult to do that on this one. So what I did is I picked 3 games and I put little parentheses L.
Whoa!
I'm not sure which one they're going to lose, but I think they're going to lose one of them. So I'm going to go agree with you and go 9-1.
You got them possibly losing 3 though. That's crazy.
No. I don't think they're going to lose all 3, but I don't think they're going to win all 3. Was kind of the way I was looking at it.
So you think if they lose 1, they're definitely win? Okay, I got you. I
went 9-1. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So we both got them 9-1. So tonight's Marana's gonna be a wash. But man, this team
don't
is absolutely.
Don't go 5-5, Marana.
Oh man! Hey, listen, go. Look, they're in a no-win situation with us right now because they go 10-0, they can't talk crazy to us, and if they go 5-5, then we're definitely gonna.
Last year we had Sabino with winning records, and they went 3-7.
Ouch, that hurts. They were replacing a lot. What did we have
know.
them? What was our projection on
we,
Sabino?
we didn't take all that into consideration, that they had new quarterback and all kinds of stuff. So.
All right. Well, there's that. Hey, look, man, a hefty show, fully loaded, man. Got a chance to talk to your guy, Coach Roschmann from NAU, who recognizes your greatness, your legendariness.
Yeah, it was nice to meet him and Coach Cheatwood there last December.
I got a question. Were you surprised at all when they brought up your like how legendary? Like, did it catch you off guard?
Yeah,
like, I know you're a humble guy. Like, I know you're a humble guy. You don't
it
boast
ages
too
me
much.
in a way that he was, he was in high school, when I was covering games, because I'm going into year 17 here. So everybody just saw what Coach Roschmann looks like. He ain't an old guy. He looks pretty young, and it wasn't that long ago that he was in high school. So
I feel you on that, because seeing like Trenton Bourget and Cannon Siegel coaching at ASU, I'm like, dang, dude, like.
Mm-hmm.
I feel old. Like seeing
I saw Trenton play with Marana.
So did I.
In the playoffs. It was out of Verado. They beat Verado.
Man, it's just so crazy. Watch these kids grow up so quick. But no, man. NAU, like for you, personal expectations. Like, what are you thinking coming off the playoff year? Because I know that a
playoff show. I remember that everybody wasn't sure if they were gonna make it or not. And we kind of, some of us in the group chat were kind of watching it, and it was looking like maybe, and then we were kind of running out of teams, and then they got in right at the last minute there.
Look, I know the reality is like when Dillingham took over ASU, obviously they didn't get the bowl games and stuff. They had the bowl ban that they had to deal with, but people kind of expected that there was going to be a struggle. Like Coach Wright, to be able to get it out the gates his first year, like how does that set expectations for you, an alumni, a fan, if you will, compartmentalize, some of what you do? Like
$3.5 million, by the way, but.
Oh, you donated it?
No, I was not the one that donated $3.5 million.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. That's your alma mater. Look, my dad bought season tickets for ASU and stuff for the football games and stuff, because he wanted to get back, because Ken was activating the Valley.
I do not think that they're going to be, when the preseason rankings come out, I don't think they're going to be listed in the top 3 in the Big Sky. The Big Sky is probably the best of the FCS conferences. They got Montana State in there that's perennial, and Montana and Idaho have been really good. And there's been some years that a couple other teams have gone on runs. So it's deep. It's a deep conference, but I don't think the expectation is, that we expect them to get back to the playoffs, or if they do, it might be kind of like just barely getting in again. I mean, obviously, Coach Roschmann would like to be in that position, like he was in at Millennium and at Liberty, to where during the selection show, you're just waiting to see who you play, not if you make it. And hopefully they will. The coaching staff being together helps as well. But there's a lot of turnover in the FCS level, much like there is in the bigger FBS and Power 4 college ranks as well, with the portal. And so it's a lot of, new. You might have the same coaches, but you got a lot of new guys to put back together and stuff.
All right, man. Hey, I know you're excited for them though, because I
hope they don't get embarrassed against ASU. So there you go.
Are you gonna go to that game?
It's a Saturday, right? I don't know yet.
It's Gridiron. You should do the coin flip.
I don't think I'd rank that high in Tempe. So yeah.
I'm gonna lobby that you do the coin flip. I mean, I think that would be.
But you're the one with the pull. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna ask, and you might have more pull than I do. So
I don't know. It's a college game.
Hey, it would be pretty cool though to see my man Gridiron trotting out there to the 50-yard line and flipping the coin and all that good stuff. Anyways, hey Gridiron, I always appreciate you hanging out and chopping it up and breaking down these schedules. Is an annual thing for us, is what we do this time of year. We do got some things coming up because next week is the draft. I'm trying to arrange a special guest, so we might be able to talk about some other cool things. And we will definitely break down at least one schedule next week,
Okay.
but most likely two. Most likely two, because we'll probably just yellow
Because
pad.
what is the next
whoever the
next
guest
week is just a few days before the draft, because the draft will be Thursday through Saturday
Yes.
of next. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know if we're
That
gonna
should
do.
be
I don't know if we're gonna talk about the Arizona draft guys before the draft, or if we're gonna wait till the week after the draft and talk about the Arizona guys that got drafted.
got drafted. Might have
could
to
do
do
it
that.
either
I think we
way.
did something like that last year, right?
I think we did. Yeah.
Well, we'll figure it out. We'll talk about that
Okay.
off air. But
Yep.
Gridiron, I appreciate you. Men lie, women lie. Gridiron don't. So I appreciate you. The numbers guy, the official numbers guy of Flight Club, which is coming back June 28th, 2025. That's this year. I'm not doing the 26th schedule yet.
Yeah, we're
Shout
not
out to my
going out
guys
with
for their
the
epic
26th.
scores. But yeah, June 28th. It's gonna be a lot of fun out there in Maricopa as usual. And 5,000 of your closest friends, I guess, right? So shout out to you, Gridiron, and I will catch up with you next week. Cool.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Man, I can't wait, because the draft is one of my favorite things. So I
Yeah,
cannot wait
it's
to
coming
see
up,
what
3
we got
days.
going on. Oh, I'm nervous for all our guys. All right, hey, Gridiron, catch up with you next week. All right.
All right.
With that being said, I'd like to thank my guy, Coach Tim Roschmann, Director of Player Personnel over there, the recruiting guy, the recruiting department director also at NAU. And shout out to my guy, Gridiron, inside the numbers segment, the specialist when it comes to all things numbers related. He makes the math. And also shout out to all the coaches that are reaching out to me about Flight Club. Yes, it is going on. I haven't put too much out about it. Operating very, very under the radar, or trying to. Other than that, I appreciate everybody always, vibing with their boy and checking in and tapping in and making sure that they show love. And if you don't, it's all good too. Just troll. A lot of people are into that stuff, so express gratitude however you want to do. And your boy Chili, I'm gonna make my way out of here. Gotta pack some stuff up and get ready to head back to the heat with you guys. At Just Chili, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. If you guys need to holler at me about anything, Just Chili TV, Just Chili.tv, Just Chili TV on YouTube, Just Chili TV on TikTok. I don't do too much on TikTok, but always support. Just support your guy. Just support your guys. I talked about this a little bit earlier, and before I finish this up, I just want to make sure that I show love. Like, look, dude, the transfer portal, college football, it's a rough place. It's a rough place to try to survive, whether you're a coach or a player or whatever. And I know a lot of people got a lot of things to say. Try it out sometime, though. It's hard, and I feel for all the kids that are trying to make this thing work and don't know who to trust, because the same people that are trying to pretend to show them love are also hitting them with hate behind the scenes. So I'm gonna let that sit there, and y'all enjoy your life. And don't forget, if you get the chance, some Country Archer Provisions grass-fed beef jerky. If I see you out and about and I have a pack with me, feel free to ask. I'll give it away. I'll let you try it or whatever. I'll give you a couple strips. This stuff will change your life like a Powerball. Your boy Chili, I'm going to make my way out of here. At Just Chili, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Forks Up Forever. Y'all know the deal.